What if I told you, you can't lock up the will to win?
We are all about to witness an event that's never happened before in television sports. A top boxing contender coming inside the walls of a prison to fight an inmate.
We called him the Great Scott. He was built like Hercules.
James Scott is one step closer to the light heavyweight champion of the world.
I don't know that everybody thought this out all the way through.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio. That's 710 ESPN LA. It's 98.7 FM New York City. And, of course, nationwide over the airways of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM style, Channel 80. Number to call up, as always, is 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Let me tell you something right now. Got a lot of stuff to get to today, and I will. I truly, truly will. I promise. NFL stuff, some NBA stuff, retirement of Kobe's jersey. That's one of the things that I'm going to get into. Kevin Durant making news with his new sneaker and some of the things that he has to say. I'm going to get into that. LeVar Ball, the father of Lonzo Ball, number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft for the Los Angeles Lakers. His eccentric, wild, and crazy self. He showed up on First Take this morning, acting buck wild as always. I'll tell you the latest preposterous thing that came out of his mouth. All of these things are things I'm going to get into. Might even get into a little college football today, no doubt about that. The list goes on and on. But listen, how can I put this? You know, there are people in this industry, particularly people that, on some occasions, it's people that work in the same building as me or whatever the case. They got things to say. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, we all put on our big boy pants and big boy clothes here. And you sit in the kind of seat that I sit in where you have your own national radio show. You've got your own national television show and stuff like that. And, you're critiquing things, you're critiquing people, you're critiquing their actions, et cetera, et cetera. You got to take it. And so I don't mind. I really, really don't. But I never give it because I don't believe in talking about my colleagues. The exception will be today. And the exception will be today because there are people that work that are associated with ESPN. Damn it, I'm just going to say it. They don't know basketball. I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take it. I've seen this list that came out, some list from ESPN. We don't know who formulated the list. We don't know specifically who selected whom and all of this other stuff. We have no clue, ladies and gentlemen. We really, really don't. Okay? I don't know who they are. But if they're listening and they had anything to do with Carmelo Anthony being ranked as the 64th best player in the NBA, I want to let the world know your basketball card needs to be stripped and you have no business on earth talking and discussing the game and analyzing and evaluating the game. You don't know basketball. You're just ignorant and you're wasting my time. 64 players in the NBA better than Carmelo Anthony? In what world? In what world? You have got to be kidding me. And it's like, listen, ESPN, you've got a lot of folks that hide behind that logo, those 4 letters. I wish they would come out and tell me who they are because it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even have to look. But when I learned who they had listed ahead of Carmelo Anthony, I knew it was just going to make me more irritated. Danny Green of the Spurs, really? Really? Harrison Barnes of the Dallas Mavericks. Really? Really? They even got this dude, Sixers forward Robert Covington, ahead of Carmelo Anthony, Danilo Gallinari, Drew Holiday. Really? Really? Now, listen, I know that Carmelo Anthony doesn't play defense sometimes. When you have the responsibility that he has on the offensive side of the ball, you take plays off, and usually folks elect to do it on the defensive side of the ball. Not excusing it. Not excusing it. I know he's a ball hog at times. Doesn't move the basketball. Doesn't want to pass and pass the basketball the way that he should. As Larry Brown would say, isn't always playing the right way. I get it. I understand it. Totally. I get that reality. I really, really do. But ladies and gentlemen, this dude is a near 25-point per game scorer for his career. If Carmelo Anthony averages, listen to this. I want y'all to listen to me and listen to me carefully now, because this kind of stuff is important. If Carmelo Anthony averages, I think, 20 points a game this season, ladies and gentlemen, if he does that for this season, the only players in NBA history to average at least 20 points per game in each of their first 15 seasons in the National Basketball Association is Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest scorer in the history of basketball. But you got 64 players better than Carmelo Anthony. See, this is the kind of nonsense that shreds credibility. Carmelo Anthony is not perfect. Carmelo Anthony is very imperfect. Be honest with you, as much as I love the brother, I am sick and tired of him constantly prioritizing money over winning. At some point in time, you're in your 14th year, entering your 15th season. It should make you sick to your stomach that you on banana boats with a LeBron James who's been to like 8 or 9 NBA finals. 8, actually. But you with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, who's been to 5 NBA finals, both 3-time NBA champions. It should make you sick to your stomach that you around dudes that have been to the finals so often and you have never even made an appearance in the NBA finals. I'm not absolving Carmelo Anthony from everything, but to sit there and look at him at 6'8", 240, with a game you can shoot the three, you can shoot mid-range, you can get to the free throw line, you can post up and play with your back to the basket, you can score off the dribble, you can create your own shot. To be one of the prolific scorers of the modern day era, and to tell me that this man is ranked 64th, it is an embarrassment and a disgrace to ESPN that's even subject to being disseminated to the masses. I'm to the point where I need people to put their names to this stuff. I need to know who the hell did this. I want names. Who the hell made that decision? Who are you? It's embarrassing. You don't know basketball. Now, Melo's not perfect, as I've said, and I've articulated the reasons why. It still don't negate the fact that he's one of the best. People talking about him like he's straight garbage. What world are you living in? It's embarrassing. And like I said, you're listening to a guy right now, ladies and gentlemen, that covered Allen Iverson every day for the first 10 years of his career in Philadelphia. As the beat writer and then the NBA columnist. I watched Allen Iverson ball hog. I watched Allen Iverson dribble the basketball. I watched Allen Iverson break people down with the crossover and everything else, but rarely passed. I watched Allen Iverson never play defense. Last time I checked, last summer, I was in Springfield, Massachusetts, watching and listening as this man was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Because Larry Brown, the great Larry Brown, along with Billy King and Pat Croce, said this is the talent we have. We have to put requisite parts around him that fit. That's what we have to do. We can't sit up there and just expect him to be something he's not. Nobody's done that for Melo. closest they came to it was when they traded Chauncey Billups to Denver. And they went to the Western Conference Finals that year and ran into Kobe and Shaq. That's the only thing that stopped Denver from going to the finals. Carmelo Anthony is not perfect. There's a lot of things about his game and about his mentality towards winning as opposed to chasing those dollars that I'd wish he'd modify to some degree. But to talk about this dude like there's 63 players, and by the way, Lonzo Ball, who's never played an NBA game, is on the list. To talk about this dude with such disrespect is appalling. It's just that simple. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Back with your calls and more in a minute.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Let's go to Dwight in Yonkers. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Dwight? How are you?
How you doing, Steve? Stephen A. Real quick. All right, I agree with you with Melo. I think Melo should be in the top 15, but I could be wrong. That's my opinion. I hope they got the 1 and 2 right. Durant and Curry, not no LeBron. I hope that. My opinion only. But Stephen A., can I talk to you earlier about your first take with LeVar Ball?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
He is crazy.
Yes.
He think his son is better than LeBron. Not yet. Give him time. He might be, but no way. And for him, 50 wins? Is he crazy?
Well, first of all, he ain't gonna never be better than LeBron James. Let's get that out the way. Yeah. He's saying that Steph Curry, he could end up being better than Steph Curry. Listen, LeVar Ball's crazy. All right. I love him, though. I don't like everything that he does, and he knows that, but I'm very fond of him. I think he's a decent dude. He's just, it's working for him right now, and he's milking it for all it's worth. I can't hate on him for that, but some of the stuff that he says is clearly outlandish and utterly ridiculous. There is no doubt about it, and I'm not about to make any excuses for him.
All right. Thank you, Stephen A.
Thanks a lot.
That's all I had to say. You have
Take
a good
it easy.
day.
Nuno, when you get a chance, get that sound of LeVar Ball on First Take this morning. With the nonsense that he was spewing about how the Lakers are going to win 50 games. And the man has lost his mind, lost his damn mind. Lakers ain't winning no 50 games, y'all. You better stop that. Magic said the right words. We on the come up. We sold out the Summer League. The interest has been revitalized in the franchise, et cetera, et cetera. Magic Johnson came on the air and admitted that he only went to a couple of games last year because he just couldn't take it. He couldn't take watching these guys anymore. Couldn't take it. So he went to 2 games. I mean, think about that. That's kind of stuff that he says. That's kind of stuff he's getting down with. It is what it is. Chris in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A., good morning.
All right,
real quick, I was watching First Take today. Very entertaining show, man, honestly, with all LeVar. I have a question for you. What's more blasphemous and outrageous? The fact that LeVar thinks that the Lakers are going to win 50 games or that Carmelo's at slot number 64 in the power rankings? What's more blasphemous?
No. I didn't hear the first part. You said or Melo, the 64th in the rankings, but before that you said what?
That LeVar said the Lakers are going to win 50-plus games.
I think what's more preposterous is believe it or not, Lakers winning 50 games. I think they're both preposterous. I don't think Melo should be at 64, and I don't think that anybody should be thinking the Lakers are going to win 50 games.
No, not at all, Stephen. I'm a Laker fan at heart. I'm a Laker guy, born and raised. But it's just crazy. And a lot of stuff he was going on said Steph's not going to guard him. And like I said, I think he realized the son has his bullseye in his back. But you said something that resonated with me when you mentioned to LeVar on First Take. You said that, and I don't want to misquote you, but you said that, what did you say? Basically, that the Lakers. He has to cast his son has to cash a check.
No. I said he's done cut checks that his son may not be able to cash. That's what I said.
Correct. So I don't want to misquote you, but and I don't know if you realize that or not, Stephen A. He does, but it brings more pressure to his son, and he don't care. He don't care. He believes his son can handle it, and he knows his son better than any of us do. Now, I didn't see his son handle it in the NCAA tournament against Kentucky when I bet him that Kentucky was going to beat him, and De'Aaron Fox put on a show, and his son was nowhere to be found. You know, he had to man up to that, but he believes in his son. And he believes his son is going to be that great. And he doesn't even believe that his son is going to end up being better than his other son, LaMelo. So he's very, very confident. That's what it is. So far, he ain't wrong, though. He said his son was going to be a Laker. He said that while his son was still playing at UCLA. He said, my son's entering the draft, and he's going to be a Laker. Watch. And it happened. So I got to respect that where it's due. Appreciate the call, though, man. Thank you. Brandon in South Carolina, talk to me. You're live with Stephen A.
What's up, Stephen A? Now, the whole Melo thing, like, Melo's a good player at this point in his career, and he's been great throughout a lot of it. But his lack of dedication to winning, his enthusiasm for winning has never been there. And I don't know if you remember this from a conversation we had last year, but it should probably pop up in your head. All he is a healthy Jay Cutler. He'll smile for you, but he don't give a damn about the winning. Jay Cutler just don't give a damn. I look at them as
Well, listen. This is where I get disgusted at you. That ain't the question. Answer the question first and then go on your little diatribes. Are there 63 players in the NBA better than Carmelo Anthony?
There's not 63, but is it
No, wait a minute. All I'm trying to say to you is this. I can respect any criticism that you give towards him. I understand that. But answer the question first in the future. Don't call up here and act like there's justification for people who are supposed to know basketball to list 63 players better than him. And it includes Danilo Gallinari and Harrison Barnes and Lonzo Ball, who's never played an NBA game yet. And some dude, Robert Covington for the Sixers. Come on, Brandon. Come on.
No, I agree with you. Lonzo Ball hasn't played a game. Danny Green can't even get his own shot. Patrick Beverly's stupid. Gallinari, I get that. But is it far-fetched to say that about 45 or 50 players are better than him? No.
I think it is. I think it is because what you have to understand is this. You are disgusted with Melo. That's a testament to his greatness as a talent. What we lament is what appears to be his priorities. Like, for example, I don't think Jay Cutler gives a damn. I think Melo does, but not nearly as much about everything else as he does about the money. Melo is going to get his money first. Melo proved that because, as I reported on many occasions, it was never supposed to be Chris Bosh in Miami. It was supposed to be LeBron, D-Wade, and Melo. And Melo signed the 5 years instead of an out after 3 years because he wanted the $80 million guaranteed from Denver. He did not want to sit up there and pass up those dollars. And so thinking like that and not having the foresight to bet on himself and his freedom and what he would be at that particular juncture in 2010 hurt him. That's why he was stuck, and that's why he had to force his way out of Denver a year later, and he ended up in New York when he could have been in Brooklyn and all of this other stuff because he prioritized the money. So you're right to be frustrated. But understand the frustration emanates from the fact that he's that damn good. And somebody that damn good doesn't get rated outside the top 50. Damn it, they don't get rated outside the top 30. I can't think of 29 players better than Carmelo Anthony.
I got a list right now.
Well, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna. Well, you're gonna have to call back another time because I'm not gonna let you spout all 29 names.
Hey, well,
that ain't gonna happen. Well, go ahead.
Melo, I mean, he's a good passer. I mean, Melo can pass the rock. He's a really great passer when he wants to. He's good, but I mean, I got one question for you before I go. Now, considering all the moves that was made this summer, you look at Melo, he's just sitting over there, especially when that whole Kyrie thing opened up. Nah, I don't want to go to Cleveland. You got to opt out after this year. Try to go and get a chip with your buddy, see what you can make happen.
No, what happened is that he wanted to go to Houston with CP3 because they're both represented by CAA. And when CP3 decided to leave $207 million on the table and take his talents to Houston. Basically, CAA came up with the concoction that the combination of CP3 and Melo will ensure that both get their money. Whereas if you go to Cleveland, you go after that chip, you may not get the money you want next year, neither would CP3 after next season. That's why they're trying to get to Houston together. That's the only reason Carmelo Anthony took his name off the list in terms of willing to waive his no-trade clause to go to Cleveland. Gotta run, Brandon. Appreciate the call, 866-729-ESPN. It's 866-729-3776. More of your calls in a minute. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
In a few minutes, I'm going to let y'all hear what LeVar Ball had to say, what he spewed out of his mouth earlier this morning on ESPN's First Take. But for now, I'll get back to the phone calls about Carmelo. And you know something else, too, that's worth discussing? Listen, last 3 days in L.A. have been very, very productive. The great Jerry West came on the show Monday. Irvin Magic Johnson, along with Snoop Dogg, came on First Take yesterday. LeVar Ball, Freddie Roach, J.B. Smooth, famed Curb Your Enthusiasm, you know, new show, new season debut, October 1st. Don't miss that. I got to tell y'all something, and I got to put it to you straight. It's like this, man. I'm looking at L.A. right now, and it's as a native New Yorker who obviously travels a lot because I love, you know, doing the NBA and boxing and all of this other stuff. You know what's really bothering me? How exciting things are in L.A. between Lonzo Ball and CP3 being gone and Jerry West being in there competing with Magic Johnson for supremacy in the L.A. Southern California market. Nothing but excitement. And in New York, it's straight garbage. I mean, we're speculating that the Brooklyn Nets may be the worst team in basketball, thereby gift-wrapping the Cleveland Cavaliers the number 1 overall pick next year in the NBA draft because they got that pick from Boston. All right? Who got it from Brooklyn in the Paul Pierce KG trade years ago. And the New York Knicks is just, it's just dysfunctional. Like, you are James Dolan. You're a billionaire. And what's the biggest thing you made news for this year? Having Charles Oakley removed from the arena. Now, granted, they say that Charles Oakley was being very, very disrespectful. He denies it, whatever the case may be. It's kind of hard for me to imagine Charles Oakley not saying anything, just keeping his mouth shut like he says he did. Knicks clearly have a different story, but it is what it is. But you're James Dolan. That's what you made headlines for. That and Phil Jackson's flagrant ineptitude and negligence as an executive in the sport of basketball. I mean, Phil Jackson left time. Made sure he got his $24 million, though. Made sure he got his money. Like, pulled the Brinks robbery job. He made sure he pulled that off. But in New York, you have nothing. Nothing. They stink. And to me, the remedy is clear. I have no problem with Steve Mills being the president of basketball operations now. I love the fact they hired my man Scott Perry. Long overdue for Scott Perry to get a job as a general manager in the sport of the National Basketball Association. I got no issues with it. But could you please pull the trifecta? Why is Jeff Hornacek here? Why? He's not a game changer. I mean, no disrespect. Jeff Hornacek knows basketball. He played with John Stockton and Karl Malone. They almost won not one but 2 championships. Had they not run into Michael Jordan, he'd have a couple of rings. I get it. I understand. But Jeff Hornacek and New York don't mix. I'm not saying the man doesn't deserve to be a head coach. I'm just saying New York, we don't need just a head coach. We need a spiritual and inspirational leader. We need somebody that can galvanize the citizens of New York City and send a message that will disseminate to the masses. Believe in us. We're going in the right direction. And I believe that man to be Mark Jackson, my colleague at ESPN. No doubt, my buddy, no doubt putting it on full blast. But damn it, I was tight with Isaiah Thomas. Didn't stop me from getting on the air and telling y'all he had to go. He had to be fired. I'm going to do my job now. And thank God that Isaiah Thomas, by the way, doing a hell of a job running the Liberty. And I personally think that he'll be back in the Ambiana level, and I think he does a great job as an analyst on television. I don't happen to believe that he ran the Knicks into the ground the way that people say he did because of basketball reasons. I think he was distracted. Whether it's lawsuits, whether it's mom being ill, whether it's Stephon Marbury moving right next door to him. I mean, he had a whole bunch of issues. But that's neither here nor there. Mark Jackson. Ladies and gentlemen, Queens is in the building. Murdoch Ave, O'Connell Park, St. John's University, Final Four with Chris Mullin and Willie Glass and Walter Berry and the crew. And then he goes pro, and he's the Rookie of the Year for the New York Knicks. That Mark Jackson needs to be back in New York. We need somebody to look at who's standing in front of the microphone every day, who is not a player, that gives us a reason to believe that this franchise is going in the right direction. Jeff Hornacek can't do that for you. Good man, good coach. He can't do that for you. We don't care what he has to say. We really don't. That's why you need Mark Jackson. And I can't believe that a billionaire is going to penny pinch and keep Jeff Hornacek around for the sole express purpose that he got a couple of years left on his deal and he don't want to pay the man for doing nothing. Damn it, give New Yorkers something they want for a damn change. When you hired Phil Jackson, we didn't know that you were never going to allow, that you were going to let him get away with never coaching. We didn't know that his definition of road trips was going to be trips to L.A. so he could be next to near his ex-woman, Jeannie Buss. We didn't know all that. Mark Jackson ain't going to have that problem. Where the team goes, he'll go. When it's time to speak in front of that microphone, he's going to be the first to do it. You need somebody that's a spokesman for this franchise who we can trust. And that ain't no damn Jeff Hornacek. Lakers got it in Irvin Magic Johnson. But guess what? Luke Walton ain't a bad person to be speaking on their behalf either. In the Clippers, I don't give a damn what Jerry West says. Consultant my foot. He's a consultant, all right. Right in the air, the billionaire owner who's going to do what he asks. Doc Rivers, yeah. But right now, he's hurting. J.J. Redick, gone. Jamal Crawford, gone. CP3 turned down $200 million plus just so he wouldn't play for the man. You find very, very few people that love Doc Rivers more than me, because I love him. But this has not been a good summer for him. But it's excitement in L.A., and he's still got a team that can win 50 games. What does New York have? A Brooklyn Nets team none of us care about outside of that borough. And a New York Knicks franchise that we're perpetually ashamed of. Mark Jackson's the answer. It's just that simple. 866-729-ESPN. More of your calls in a minute. This is Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio.
Want to be a part of the show? Hit Stephen A. up weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern at 866-729-3776. Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! To the phones we go right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Let's go to Wendell in L.A. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, Stephen A. Thanks for asking, man. As usual, you're on point with, pretty much everything you mentioned this morning. So I'm going to be mindful to be concise. First of all, let me address your initial question this morning about Carmelo's number 63 ranking. Let me give
64.
you an
64.
Okay, well, 63 others better than him. Let me give you an emphatic negative on that one. Let's be mindful that basketball is still a team sport, and you got to consider his supporting cast in the equation also. It's a team sport like most team sports where individual accomplishments are highlighted. So let's consider his supporting cast on that one. And in regards to LeVar Ball, come on, it is what it is. He's just being a father, supporting his offspring. I mean, hey, he's a little delusional, but he's not an absentee father. Let's give him credit where credit's due.
Well, listen. I've never said that about him, and I know you know that. But a lot of people try to attack this man as a father, and I really got a problem with that. I got a problem with him taking the kids off the court in summer league when they're playing, taking your ball and going home because you don't like the way the game's being officiated. I got a problem with the pressure that he puts on his son sometimes with all of his bloviating. But the reality is that he raised his kids. He obviously did a good job because they all seem like good kids. He believes in them. He's not committing any crimes, and sometimes people go a bit far in regards to the manner in which they talk about him, and I do have a problem with that.
In that case, Stephen, I always want to believe that in parenting there is no guidelines. It's not like instruction where there's no blueprint to be a perfect parent, But as far as the statement about the 50 wins, now, is that over a 2-season stretch?
Nope. He's talking about next season. He said next season they're going to win 50 and they're going to the playoffs. I got to go, Wendell, but that's what he said. That's what he said, and something's wrong with them, no doubt. Lenny in North Carolina, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, buddy.
What's going on, Stephen A? I ain't talked to you in a while. How you feeling?
I'm doing all right, man. Go ahead, buddy.
All right. First off, I love talking to Jonathan when Jonathan answers the phone because we talk Notre Dame, and the Irish are actually not bad. They should have won that game this weekend, but that's neither here nor there. Number two, how could you put Covington above Carmelo Anthony? Are you kidding me? Don't they ask your opinion on these?
They didn't ask me a damn thing. They didn't ask me a damn thing. They didn't ask me a damn thing.
Obviously not, because they got him 64. He's 9 spots above Carmelo. 9 spots? You need to find out who is doing these things.
Lenny, they got Lonzo Ball ahead of Carmelo.
It ain't played one game.
Ain't played one game.
Not one.
Ain't played
not
one.
So yeah, you need to get in there and be like, look, y'all need to ask me, Jay Billis, and Seth, and all these other good people who know basketball about this, because that's ridiculous.
It don't make no sense. It really, really doesn't. It's embarrassing.
I was waiting for you. I heard it last night on Bomani's show last night on the ride home, and I was like, man, I knew Stephen A. going to have a ball with this one tomorrow.
It don't make no sense. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Right behind him is Marcus Smart. Do you understand? You know that Danny Green for the Spurs is ahead of him on the list too, right?
Yeah, Danny Green. Yeah,
Danny Green. And I like Danny Green. And I like Danny Green, but he's ahead of Melo. Harrison Barnes is ahead of Melo.
Yeah,
Harrison Barnes.
Whoever did that need to be drug tested, as you would say.
I don't have the patience for it. Thanks a lot, bro. You take it easy, man. We'll talk soon. Dre in Queens, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Dre.
Hi, how you doing, Stephen A? I'm a huge fan,
right.
by the way. I just want to
I appreciate it. Go ahead real quick, buddy. Go ahead.
Now, my question is, and this is not to justify his rank on the list.
Okay.
But my question is, do you think Carmelo Anthony, after that 54-win season, especially last year, do you think they should have at least made a playoff appearance?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But you also have to remember the very next season when they won like 37 games, you have to remember that Tyson Chandler, his mother was suffering from cancer. He wasn't practicing with the team. He would literally go to a game. James Dolan would let him get his private jet. He would come in on the game. He would come in for the game and then immediately leave after the game. He wasn't practicing with the team. You had other injuries, and Mike Woodson was a lame duck coach as well. So you had all of that going on because Phil Jackson was on his way. So that's the kind of stuff that can't be ignored either.
Yeah, I understand that year, but I'm talking about last year. You know, having Derrick Rose.
No. I don't hold anybody accountable. First of all, Derrick Rose wasn't healthy, and then he went AWOL, disappearing on the team. Joakim Noah was a disastrous signing and pickup because he hadn't fully healed, and he was a shell of himself. And Phil Jackson was busy throwing Carmelo under the bus every chance he get. Plus, he was coaching from the stands by making Jeff Hornacek do things that he didn't want to do as coach of this team. So I don't blame any of the players for what happened with the Knicks last year. To me, that was on Phil Jackson and the dysfunction that he allowed to sift through this franchise like a virus.
I still think they should have made the playoffs.
Not next year. Not as much of a mess as last year was. I disagree with you, but I understand and I appreciate the call. 866-729-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. We're going to get into some NFL chit-chat, especially with the Steelers being atop the power rankings. I don't understand that. We'll talk about that, get into some more NBA talk and some boxing as well. Canelo, Triple G. We got a lot to talk about. Stick around. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, coming at you. Hour number 2 up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
Check out ESPN Films' newly released 30 for 30 podcasts. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcasts to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show here with you for the next hour or so over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80, 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. A couple of other things that I wanted to get to. They got the Steelers at the top of the power rankings today. I do not understand how, nor do I understand why. You're playing a Cleveland Browns squad bereft of talent, knowing they're starting a rookie quarterback in DeShone Kizer, who didn't look bad. You barely squeaked out a 21-18 victory. How are you atop the rankings? How are you atop the rankings ahead of Kansas City, who ramrodded the New England Patriots en route to dropping 42 points on them? How are you ahead of the Oakland Raiders, who went into Tennessee against Marcus Mariota, that Tennessee defense, and that running game with Murray and Henry, and you beat them on the road? How are you ahead of Green Bay, that handled their business against one of the elite defenses in the NFL, in the Seattle Seahawks? How are you ahead of Minnesota, even though it was against New Orleans, who showed you their defense is legit? Sam Bradford looked like the second coming of Joe Montana, and this kid Dalvin Cook has announced to the world that a new era has arrived, and it is no longer about Adrian Peterson. It's about something else. How do you not know that? How do you not know? I don't get people sometimes. I really, really don't. 866-729-ESPN. Let's go to Kevin in Wisconsin. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Kev? How are you, man?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A?
I'm good, man. Thank you for calling. What's going on?
Okay, reason why I'm calling is, first of all, to answer your question about Carmelo Anthony.
Yes, sir.
No. There is not 63 players ahead of him. Honestly, even though it's frustrating that he, takes money position over winning, you can't deny the talent. There was a time, that I remember that if he honestly could have just focused more on defense and his physical, fitness, he could have been better at that time. Better than LeBron James. They was kind of right there neck and neck for a minute.
Well, here, let me stop right there. He was never the player LeBron James was, because Melo's a scorer. LeBron's a player. So that's a big deal. Melo came into the league looking to drop 30 on you. LeBron don't give a damn if it's 15, 15, and 15. That's the difference.
That killer, well, back then he definitely didn't have a killer instinct.
Yes.
Okay, but with that question being asked, well, I put Melo in the top 10, the top 20. easily number 15, maybe even more, at least number 10. But with that being said, my main reason why calling you today was I was so proud of you last week when you went into Dallas and you represented with the A-Rod jersey on. Proud. The way, I'm with you 100% concerning Dallas fans make me sick. And they so delusional. It just doesn't make any sense. And I understand fans are fanatics. Everybody loves their home team, but with them it's crazy. But the reason why I'm calling beyond that, you made me proud, but then you picked against my boys. What's up with that, Stephen A?
Well, because I didn't trust your defense. I come on, man. Y'all had a Pop Warner damn secondary last year. You remember that. You remember that experience against the Redskins on national TV last year. You know what that was like. I don't have any questions. I don't have any questions about that bad man that he is, Aaron Rodgers. And I know Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb and those boys, what they can do for you. And the fact that you got Martellus Bennett, I forgot that he was your tight end, by the way. I actually forgot that he was there now. So that entire Montgomery is obviously, entrenched there as your running back. I ain't got no questions about your offense. I just thought the defense was awful. And guess what? And guess what, Kev? I still don't know. Because the offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks was so putrid, so porous, so pathetic. I'm looking at the offensive line and I'm saying, damn, is it Green Bay's defense or is it that Pete Carroll and that offensive line he put together is that damn bad? I still can't tell, Kevin.
Yeah, but see, then the problem is if you watch the way Atlanta played Chicago last week, even if we go down there and win, you still not going to know. Because they really didn't have a good showing against Chicago.
Well, listen,
way better than Chicago.
No, you're way better than Chicago. But the whole point that I'm trying to make to you is that it's not about that. I mean, you ain't going 16-0. I'm going to pick you to win most games with Aaron Rodgers. I just thought the season starting and Seattle getting Sheldon Richardson from the Jets and that defense being monstrous, along with Russell Wilson being healthy, I didn't think the dude was going to be running for his life all afternoon long against Green Bay. So Green Bay surprised me, and they deserve credit for that. But I'm not shocked by their offense at all. It's their defense I have no faith in. That's my issue with Green Bay.
I can respect that. But at the same time, we have owned them the last 3 times we played them. And without a doubt, I knew we were going to be.
Well, I feel you on that, but it's easy for you to say hanging in Wisconsin and all that stuff. That's how you feel. I'm not sitting up there with a cheese head on my head being nostalgic and emotional making these picks. I was just looking at it objectively and thinking that Green Bay was going to win. I was wrong, but I'll be right more than I'm wrong. We all know that. I got to go, man. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Rick/Skip in D.C. Long time, big baby. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on?
So the wife gave you permission to call. The wife gave you permission to call.
Listen, man, I'm a busy man. I'm a busy man. Listen, okay, let's start off right out the gate. Right. I don't know what the class was talking about. He's so proud of you. And stuff in Dallas, man. Stop playing with us like that, man. How about the Cowboys? Let's be together. I told you what's going to happen this year. We back. Elliott is back. That defense looking good. I don't care nothing about him talking about he's so proud of you wearing some clown outfit. I'll save you. Disrespecting us. No, we're not delusional. We who we are.
Hey, Skip. Hey, Skip, I got a question. Hey, Rick, I got a question for you. I got a question for you, Rick. I'm gonna give you. You know what I'm gonna give to you, right? Are you sure your players are gonna be eligible when it counts?
Everybody's there. We had to learn the hard way. We there. Listen, nobody's smoking no weed no more. We're going to legalize that next year, so you won't even have to worry about it. And listen, we're going to try to stay healthy, and we're going to do what we do. We're going to do what we do.
Rick, hold on. I got to slow you down for a second. Did you just say that nobody on the Dallas Cowboys is going to be smoking weed this year? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Y'all ain't going to know about it. We might hit a little bit.
We all know they're going to do it now. Come on now. We all know they're going to do that.
Listen, Ain't nobody gonna detect this shit. That's what we gonna do. Everything's gonna go under the radar.
Take it easy, Rick. Take it easy, man. Rick is hilarious. Y'all heard what he said, y'all? America, did you hear what he said? First he said we ain't gonna be smoking no weed this year. I said, are you sure? He said, well, they ain't gonna catch us. They not gonna detect it. Unbelievable. You know, trust me. I'm trying to tell y'all, just wait. I promise you the Dallas Cowboys going to do something. Don't even worry about it. Take your time. Just sit back, chill out, recline, be patient. What can go wrong will go wrong. Trust me on that. Believe me. More of your calls in a minute. This is Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Catch the Stephen A. Smith Show live on 98.7 ESPN New York, ESPN LA 710, and Sirius XM Channel 80.
You just can't make this stuff up.
Weekdays from 1 till 3 Eastern.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Longtime listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, you know, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Ha-ha! My favorite song. Kick it, Nuno. Kick it, Cat. This is for you, Rick. My favorite song in the world. Oh, my Lord. I love this song. This should win a Grammy. This right here. Kick that music. I need to hear it louder. I want the Cowboy fans to hear this. Black Cat running around that franchise. This is such a beautiful song. It should win a Grammy. I'm trying to tell y'all. Oh, I love it. No, that's good. You cut the music. That did it. They only needed to hear it once. You understand? That pathetic franchise that I can't stand your fans, all your Cowboy fans, all of yous. You all make me sick. I don't feel that way. In L.A., though. Lakers have a good fan base. I wish the Knicks did. Knicks do have a good fan base. Let me take that back. Knicks are very, very loyal because they stink, and still, we don't go anywhere. But I'm trying to tell y'all right now, I'm loving L.A. I've been out here for 3 days. I got to confess to y'all, I don't want to leave. I ain't going to lie. I'm kind of loving this town. Sunshine, beautiful weather. And they're actually relevant. But I digress. Back to the phones we go at 866-729-ESPN. It's 866-729-3776. I'm telling y'all right now, you know one thing I wanted to throw out there? To all you basketball fans out there, who you betting your money on? Jerry West or Earvin Magic Johnson? I think that's a legitimate question. Because anybody that thinks that Jerry West is just some meaningless consultant who'll whisper sweet nothings in the ear of Steve Ballmer, you're smoking something. Jerry West shows up in an executive capacity, having the ear of folks. Things happen. They just do. And you better get used to that. Trust me on it. Who you rolling with? West or Earvin Magic Johnson? Just a question. Charles in Georgia, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen?
I'm good, man. Talk to me.
In regards to Carmelo, I can't believe the ESPN put their name on that list, but I put her name to that list. That's kind of crazy.
And I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. You can't believe what?
I can't believe.
Man, your phone's gone. Your phone died, bro. I'm sorry. Mustafa in Vancouver, you're live with Stephen A. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. But I'm putting my money on Jerry West over Magic. I like Magic Johnson a lot. Jerry West just has historical success when you look at it. I mean, getting Shaq from the Lakers was something that's going to be in the history books forever in basketball history.
Okay.
But when it comes to this ESPN ranking, Carmelo Anthony, we all know, like when we look at pure scoring, and scoring was a huge aspect in basketball. He's one of the best pure scorers of all time in his prime, just pure scoring only. I mean, we know he has other flaws, but to put Lonzo Ball, who never played a game in the league, is ridiculous. But what's even more alarming is Dwayne Wade is off the top 100 list and Dwight Howard's off the top 100 list. How insane is that, Stephen A?
Well, I don't have a problem with Dwight Howard not being on the list because Dwight Howard has been a shell of himself. I mean, he has not he's just fading. He's just fading. It's almost like the game is passing him by. I'm happy that he's in Charlotte, but I think it's his last chance to be relevant. I really do. There are times where Dwight Howard looks like he's literally disappeared. Just a complete non-factor. And that has to change, man. That just has to change.
What about your thoughts on D. Wade not being in the top 100?
I don't like that. He's a 3-time champion. Not only that, he just finished averaging about 18 a game. He can still ball. I definitely think that I don't believe that there's 100 players in the NBA that should be listed above D. Wade. I think that's sacrilegious, too.
It's just these analytical nerds, man. I don't know how they make the list.
I don't know either. Maybe because they want us to be the suckers that talk about their ignorance. How about that? That might be motivation. That might be motivation because nothing else explains it. Mustafa, appreciate the call, bro. Thank you so much. Let's go to my brother Mike in Denver. You're live with Stephen A. What's going on, big time?
What's good with you, man?
I'm good. Go ahead, bro.
I just wanted to talk about that Carmelo thing. Hey, I'll never look at it again. If you remember this time last year or the year before, I don't know which one it is, we had another guy that's a first ballot Hall of Fame at the same spot in Kobe Bryant. It's ridiculous, man.
Listen, and then they want to act like they were right because Kobe looked so bad at times. Kobe looked bad because Kobe was still a number one option at age 37 with no help whatsoever. So, of course, he was going to look bad. But the point is, if he didn't have that onus on his shoulders and he was allowed to be on a team and had some help, he wouldn't have looked that bad. And I'm looking at Carmelo still averaging 22 a night despite the dysfunctionality of the New York Knicks. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know.
Is you serious, man? At 64, he is, man, the first ballot Hall of Fame, and the guys they got in front of him, not half of them even going to be considered for the Hall of Fame. It's terrible, man. I'll never look at that again. Another thing I want to get in real quick with you is LeVar Ball, man. Hey, stop getting them passes, man. I know you got to restrain yourself a little bit on First Take. Get them on the show, man, so you can let them have it, man.
No, LeVar was on this morning. LeVar Ball was on First Take this morning. He was on First Take this morning talking that nonsense. Lakers going to win 50 games. My son is going to do damage. I promise you, if he play Golden State 4 times, he going to beat them at least twice. All of this sacrilegious stuff coming out of his mouth. Even though I will say this, December 18th, when they retire both of Kobe's jerseys, 24 and 8, they're playing the Golden State Warriors that night. I can see the Lakers winning that night. It's possible. It's possible.
Now they're going to sweep them this year, Stephen A. You know, the Lakers been caught them twice in the last 2 years to beat them when they won.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, the Golden State's going to probably sweep them this year. You're right. That's a good point. This is a good point. And not only that, Kevin Durant and them will ruin that night for Kobe, you know, and because the Lakers just don't have enough help yet. They don't have the horses to beat Golden State, man. They just
nice talking to you, you know, but I like listening to you more. Have a good day, man.
All right, bro. You be doing the same, man. Send your brother my love. Marty in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. What's going on, Marty Moore?
Hey, Stephen A. Welcome to Los Angeles. We love you, man. Enjoy the city.
It's good to be here. Thanks a lot. Go ahead, bro.
I got a comment, and I've got a prediction. Comment
yes,
is that if the Vikings beat Pittsburgh next week in Pittsburgh, would you consider the Vikings a contender to win the division and over the Packers?
Yes, I consider them a contender right now. In terms of the division.
Second,
yes, I do.
Second, Raiders should be over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Raiders will be getting in the Super Bowl. They're a force to be reckoned with. Jack Del Rio, go.
Well, listen, I just think that you got to wait to see what their defense is going to do. Offensively, I have no problem with people believing in the Raiders. And Khalil Mack is the Mack daddy, no doubt. Bruce Irvin and the crew, they can play. But I'm just saying that right now, we got to see what the Raiders do. We got to see whether or not that road win against Tennessee, which was huge, was a fluke. We got to find that out. And based off of that, in the weeks to come, let's see. Because you got to remember, this is where the whole collective bargaining agreement hurts things a bit. You know why? Because it's one of those situations where because you don't have two-a-days and you're not putting on pads and helmets and all of this other stuff, you don't get to practice the way that you once did. And as a result, you're not as ready and as sharp earlier in the season as you once were. And because of that, it's very difficult for us to tell what we're seeing. So only time will tell, and time will let us know. But right now, it's just a very, very difficult thing to do. There's just no other way around it.
What do you think about Marshawn Lynch being there?
Oh, I love beast mode. And I think he's perfect for Oakland. And he was running like a youngster out there, man. And he was running over dudes, too. He was making them feel him when they tackled him, which is exactly what you needed, to be honest with you. And I got to tell you something right now. I felt bad for Latavius Murray, too. I mean, this is a dude that had it all, last year in Oakland. He decides to leave, and, what's he doing now? Riding the bench because Dalvin Cook doing his thing in Minnesota.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Y'all don't even know. I mean, this beat right here. Snoop Dogg, Lord have mercy. This was some special beats right here. I can't even spit these lyrics, Can't even do that over the FCC airways. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Back to the phones we go at 866-729-ESPN. DeAnthony in Los Angeles, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., I just wanted to give you props for keeping it real in the same manner of all the sports writers and rating Carmelo Anthony where he is. That's a bunch of garbage. I can't even half the stuff. I would like to know who these people are as well, to just tell them they're frauds. These are the same people that T.O. can't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. It's not the Hall of Fame for best teammate. It's about stats. Just like what Melo's putting
It's about levels of production. And the fact of the matter is that Terrell Owens, when he stopped playing football, was top 6 in every statistical category for a wide receiver. And
Correct.
Top 3 in most. Receptions, touchdowns, yards. It's just a disgrace that this man is not in the Hall of Fame yet. It really is. But go ahead.
You hear the dog whistles of what's being said. I really wonder what's being said of why some people aren't voted, disrespected at 64th or not a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's because I think some writers, if you don't kowtow to them or give them what they want, then you don't get their vote. I think that's garbage.
Well, no, I don't think that. I think that's a simplistic way of looking at it, and I don't think that's entirely accurate, bro. Here's why. You also have teammates and coaches and folks who talk to folks off the record and really stain folks' reputations as well. It's not about – people don't realize that in most instances, in more instances than not, it's not at all about a reporter not having a good relationship with the athlete. It's the athlete, turning off, alienating teammates, coaches, and others. They talk about how cancerous the individual may have been in the locker room and all of this other stuff and uses that to demean what they've accomplished. That's one of the things you have to think about, too. Don't underestimate the power of that.
Demean the person, but when you're voting for a Hall of Fame, you're not going to deny he's not. Shouldn't be.
Well, I'm not going to deny it, but I'm saying to you, don't blame the reporter, because what the reporter's doing is he's taking all things into account, not just your stats, but your presence and how formidable you were in the eyes of the people who played with you. Like, you do have some people who believe that T.O. was so cancerous that he shouldn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, who played in the NFL. Their teammates, their coaches, and all that stuff. Now, it's bogus. It's nonsense. But you do have those who played the game who actually feel that way.
But who are these voters? I'd like to know who they are. Just like, who's the person that ranked Carmelo 64th?
Some of them are former players and coaches and things of that nature. In terms of this ESPN poll, I don't know who the hell it is. I have no clue. But I assure you, they never asked me. And I have nothing to do with this list because it's nonsense. I got to go, DeAnthony. Thanks a lot for the call. Dre in Georgia, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., man, I hate to beat a dead horse, but, man, this Carmelo thing is really bothering me, man. Number one, it's coming from ESPN, so that bothers me. Number two, how do they have Robert Covington before Carmelo Anthony?
Hold on, it's not right there. Robert Covington, Danny Green for the Spurs, Harrison Barnes for the Mavericks, Danilo Gallinari, Drew Holiday, and Lonzo Ball, who hasn't played an NBA game yet.
It's ridiculous. I mean, if you put Carmelo Anthony, I know a lot of these writers, they're doing it because it's like they're punishing Carmelo because it's like he has his team underachieving or something like that. But if you put Carmelo Anthony on the Golden State Warriors, take Kevin Durant off, what do you think? Do you think Carmelo would still be ranked 64?
I don't know. I doubt it.
No, possible.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Go ahead.
And they also had Robert Covington before Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah. Look, man, don't get me started.
I don't get it, Stephen. I don't
you know I don't. You know I don't. I mean, what you want me to say? I don't get it either. I really, really don't. Kurt Lowe in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. What's going on, my brother? I hope everything is good for you out there.
Absolutely, man. Anything with you, man, you're a respectable person, man. We love everything about you, man. You keep up the good work over there at
Thank
ESPN.
you, man. Go ahead, brother.
But I disagree with you 100% on this. How dare you put Carmelo Anthony in the top 20? How dare you? That guy was one of the worst players in the league last year. You didn't watch him all year in New York?
Well, you know I got. Hold on. Stop right there. You're absolutely right. I couldn't take it, bro. I lived right down the block from the Garden and wouldn't go. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. Phil Jackson and the New York Knicks and what had happened to the New York Knicks, Kurt Lowe, I got to tell you, man, I didn't go watch them. I got to tell you, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. I was just miserable. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I couldn't take it. So you're right.
Stephen A., Carmelo Anthony is one of the worst efficient scorers in the NBA.
No, I wouldn't say that. Okay. I wouldn't say that. No. He's a damn good scorer. He's a damn good passer. Don't play no damn defense, and you can indict him for holding on to the ball. I could respond by telling you who the hell is there to pass it to.
Look at it. It doesn't matter how many shots you put up. I mean, it doesn't matter how many points you put up. It matters how many shots you put up to get those. Wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. If he didn't shoot 35% from the field. He shot 45% from the field. He shot 45% from the field. The field goal percentage is the new field goal percentage in the NBA because of all the 3-pointers they take. So you look at the effective field goal percentage. He had the same effective field goal percentage as Corey Brewer or around that area. You know what I'm saying? That's horrible. Out of all the 18-man roster on the Houston Rockets,
you're being too damn emotional. The fact of the matter is that you can't sit up there and say it was horrible. You can't do that. And by the way, I was mistaken. He shot 43% from the field. 43%, not 45%.
The league, he didn't even give a damn. Phil Jackson and everybody's trying to get this man to do something that he doesn't want to do. And
no, you're wrong. You're in for enough's enough. Enough's enough. Goodbye. Enough's enough, Kurt Lowe. Goodbye. You're wrong there. You ain't going to call up on this show and give Phil Jackson a pass. Hell no. What he did to that franchise last year was criminal. And it was hard for anybody to perform under those circumstances. Absolutely hard. No way around it. But I hear you with your point about Carmelo Anthony. It's just that on the defensive side of the ball, you have a point. Offensively, you don't have any points. Sorry. Absolutely not. Your calls to close out the show in a minute. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Give Stephen A. piece of your mind.
He is sorry.
Call him weekdays from 1 till 3 Eastern.
I mean, just trash.
At 866-729-3776.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it.
You must be going blind. Ow. It's the best fight in boxing, y'all. The showdown that the fans demanded this Saturday night, September 16th, live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G Gennady Golovkin. They'll collide for the middleweight championship of the world. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on pay-per-view. Two of the most explosive, heavy-handed fighters in the sport. Alvarez and Triple G square for the battle for middleweight and pound-for-pound supremacy. Lineal middleweight world champion Alvarez, 49-1-1 with 34 KOs, his only loss coming to Money Mayweather, has stated that he fears no man and plans to prove this is indeed the Canelo era. Unified middleweight world champion Golovkin, 37-0, 33 KOs. Has dreamed of this type of fight, and the Knockout King is promising a big drama show. This will be A can't-miss event for sports fans everywhere. The biggest star in the sport taking on the widely recognized baddest man on the planet. Don't miss it. Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G Gennady Golovkin. This Saturday night, September 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, live on pay-per-view. Back to the phones we go. CB, Pasadena. Talk to me. You're live. What's up?
All right, Hollis Queen. As usual, it's been enthralling, captivating, and very perceptive. What a weekend in college and the NFL. My goodness, I thoroughly enjoyed those games. But, to your point that you made earlier, Stephen A., is that New York, they're basketball. Because I can remember my favorite player, Dr. J, in the Rutgers Park. And I saw some documentary on him. He was a living legend out there. And I didn't know Dr. J averaged like 40 points in the ABA. So, they have a rich heritage. And every player in the NBA loves to go to Madison Square Garden for some reason. They just have a feeling. They have the aura about it. I hope New York, I know you were talking about L.A. and our teams. We're doing well. But the doggone Dodgers, doggone it, Stephen A., if the Dodgers wet the bed like they've been doing later, our fans are going to be all over them now. Hey, we're getting close.
You're right. I got you. We got to, the Dodgers got to step up. Let me tell you something. The Cleveland Indians handling their business. They've won 20 straight. Terry Francona's doing a fabulous job. The Angels still in the thick of it. The Dodgers have nosedived. The Cubs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Washington Nationals all look like they could take the Dodgers. Hopefully it's just fatigue. They'll be rested enough come playoff time to be ready to handle their business. They ended their losing streak, but the bottom line is they look horrible. And they better get it together. It's really, really that simple. Appreciate the call. John in Manhattan, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Good morning, Stephen. How you feeling?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Listen, Carmelo Anthony's top 30, bottom line. And also the Knicks and the Nets will get better once they get responsible and common sense management.
Okay. That's good.
That's plain and simple.
You ain't got to say nothing else. You can't say it no better than that, bro. Thank you for the call. Manuel in Cali, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Welcome to Cali, Stephen A.
Thank you, bro. Go ahead.
Hey, brother, I just want to say that just like that song you put on, some people who say Carmelo is 64 must be going blind.
That's right.
Brother, the main question I got, my son, Manuel, I want to send a shout-out to him and Jesus. He had a question for you. He's a CP3 fan, and he wants to know how his Clippers are going to do this year.
I think they're going to be okay. They're going to be decent. They're just not going to be as good as they would have been with CP3. That's a devastating loss. I like Patrick Beverly a lot, but he ain't CP3. Sam Decker's all right, but, listen, Blake Griffin's got to step up and be a superstar. He's got the requisite talent. You got him with DeAndre Jordan, okay? They should be able to win 45 games, all right? But they ain't going anywhere. They're not going to beat – first of all, the Clippers are not better than Golden State. They're not better than San Antonio. They're not better than Oklahoma City. Those three teams right there, they are not better than. And you're going to see other teams going to come up like Memphis and others, and that's going to give in Houston. That's going to give them a run for their money. It's going to give them a run for their money. So I'm not sold on the Clippers at all. I see the Clippers as a 6th or 7th seed in the Western Conference, going home in the first round. That's my prediction. Appreciate the call. Gary in San Antonio, talk to me. You're live with Stephen A.
Hey, Stephen A., what's going on? First and foremost, I heard you got to hear your favorite song, The Accident Waiting to Happen. Well, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I appreciate that picture you took with me last week after you did your radio show.
No problem.
Yeah. So I just want the Cowboy fans to know Stephen A. got love for the Cowboy fans because I had my Dez Bryant on it. He took the picture. But anyway, I'm going to make my point real quick. I just wanted to ask, do you think Carmelo's going to get moved? Do you think he's going to be willing to go somewhere else?
Well, listen. If he's smart, he will. If he's smart, he doesn't put all his eggs in the basket of the Houston Rockets. Right now, that's what he's doing because he's trying to go with his brother CP3. They're very, very tight, and he's trying to go and play with CP3. But all Houston has to offer is Ryan Anderson, and the Knicks are not accepting that. They're not taking that. I'm telling you that right now. So as a result, he's going to have to open up, be a bit more open-minded about potential options since he has that no-trade clause in his contract that he'd have to waive in order for a deal to get made. He's got to find himself in a situation. He's got to find a more comfortable situation for him that's going to also work for the Knicks because the Knicks don't have to trade him to anybody. So either he's going to end up capitulating to some degree or he's going to end up stuck with the Knicks.
All right, real quick, my last question. I know we're not going to win 50 games, the Lakers. LeVar, he's kind of delusional. I got it. We're not going to win 50. how many games do we have to win to really entice LeBron to even think about coming our way?
I don't know about LeBron. I don't think it's about the games that you win. I think it's about whether or not you get Paul George. Let's say, for example, if Lonzo Ball shows promise and you only win 29 to 30 games. But Lonzo Ball shows a lot of promise as a young stud point guard. And you know, Larry Nance continues to develop, and either Julius Randle or Brandon Ingram do their thing. And then Paul George says, I'm definitely going there. And I think that improves your chances exponentially, but we'll see. I got to run. Easy in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Easy. Go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A., first-time caller. I have a question. Do you think by Carmelo being too mellow is the reason why he's ranked number 64?
Well, you could say that. That's a legitimate argument that some have made. What I would respond in con is that I just think he's prioritized his money. I don't think he's lazy. I don't think it's that he doesn't care. I think that he has been scared to miss out on the potential dollars that were there for him. So as a result, he would take contracts and saddle and strap himself into a situation as opposed to leaving his options open so he would be able to position himself for a championship. He put himself in positions where he had to make a choice between the money and pursuit of titles, and he chose the money, and that's why he's in the position he's in.
All right, Stephen A., thank you for taking my call, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Let's go to Tim in L.A. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Tim. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A.?
I'm good. Go ahead, man. You're live on the air. You only got a minute. Go ahead.
I want to ask you a quick question, man. With the Giants and Seahawks offensive line struggle, which team is in more trouble due to that? They're built exactly the same. Good defenses, terrible line. Which team is in more trouble due to their line struggle?
The Giants are in more trouble because the Giants, without Odell Beckham Jr. on the field, looked completely and utterly lost and rudderless. That cannot fly. Seattle, even though they looked awful themselves, you got to believe that Russell Wilson will figure out how to make things happen because he's not a stationary quarterback. He's mobile. He moves around. He extends plays. He makes things happen. So as a result of that, I think that puts Seattle in a better position. And as good as the Giants' defense is, I don't think their defense is better than Seattle's. So the combination of all of that makes me say that the Giants would be in far more trouble than Seattle is right now with the two poorest offensive lines that both are saddled with. That's just my opinion about it. Got to get on out of here for the day. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. I'm going to be coming at you live from Vegas. Coverage for the Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight. First Take will be in the house live from Vegas, and so will I for the radio show as well. 22 hours from now, I'll be back on the air. Make sure you tune in. And Stephen A. signing off. Peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.